The entire radio building was in chaos in an instant. As the deadly black fog with the breath of death spread, people jumped down one after another around the rooftop of the building. Originally, there was a middle-aged uncle who was doing business with a gargoyle mount. As the time approached midnight, the business of sending people to the rooftop became more and more prosperous, and one delivery would cost 1 or 2 years of life. It's a pity that the gargoyle is too small and can only carry 2 people at most. People are willing to trade their lives only if they carry people up. Otherwise, if you carry more people at a time, wouldn't you make a fortune? The middle-aged uncle had just sent a guest to the rooftop. He rode on the gargoyle and turned to leave. Suddenly, a faint black fog of death spread behind him and enveloped him. Before the uncle could react, suddenly, one after another, players screamed and jumped toward the gargoyle flying not far from the rooftop. The gargoyle's wings, neck, claws. One by one, the players grabbed the gargoyle and regarded it as a life-saving straw. Baga, get out of here. Get out of here. The middle-aged uncle was stunned. In the faint black fog of instant death energy, dozens of players were hung on the small gargoyle at once, and it could not bear it and fell to the ground. All kinds of curses from the middle-aged uncle were heard along the way, and this was just the situation on this side. People jumped out from all directions of the rooftop. Some people with low attributes fell to death on the spot, and some people used displacement skills to successfully cancel gravity when they landed. However, even those who successfully landed still looked terrified, because they looked around. This faint black fog containing instant death energy was endless, even if some of them had agility of 200 or 300 points, taking into account various speed bonuses. 50 to 60 meters per second was already a super fast speed. The top ones would not exceed 100 meters per second. The black fog of instant death energy has spread for a full 3 kilometers. To escape in just 20 seconds. It's impossible. Unless their initial position is far away, even the players on the rooftop are fine. But there is actually no chance of escape. Even more uncomfortable are the people who are trapped and squeezed in the corridor. The whole building is blocked and it is even more impossible to escape. There was already a stampede. There were people everywhere and several stairs and rooms in the building. People with low strength attributes couldn't even squeeze in. When the black fog of instant death energy spread, all the people squeezed in the corridor were dumbfounded. Bang! Many windows were broken, and some people jumped out from the stairs and offices. Originally, this area was in a collective silent state under the ability of the long-tailed snake goddess statue. No one could release skills. Even if you use some props to remove the silence, you will be silenced again in the next second. Unless you use the dominant body method, equipment, special effects, or dominant body skills can be used, although in the silent state, the dominant body skill can be released, and all the control effects on the body are removed. So, when the black fog of instant death energy spread out, a few people also released the dominant body skill with golden light on their bodies, and directly activated the skill. Some people bombarded the walls of the building, creating explosions again and again, and a huge gap was blasted out on the north side of the building. And ant-like figures ran out of the gap. Some people turned on the dominant body and used the continuous flash skill to escape outside at the fastest speed. These people, each of them began to be wrapped with black instant death energy, and a black progress bar appeared above their heads. This progress bar is the same as in the game. It is the instant death scale. These players have no resistance to instant death, and 5% of the instant death scale will be added every second. At most, they will die in 20 seconds. At this moment, the entire radio building was like a pot of boiling water, with thousands of people running out. Most importantly, there were even more people squeezed inside the building, unable to leave in a short time, as if they were trapped in a birdcage. Ya Yamet. Not far below, the young man from Daxia, Ma Fei, who witnessed this scene, and his girlfriend with twin ponytails, both changed their faces. Originally, they hurriedly wanted to find a flying mount to take them to the rooftop to worship the statue. But when they came to several streets outside the radio building, they suddenly saw that the chest of the long-tailed snake goddess statue was cracked, and the deadly black mist of instant death energy rolled out of it. Then, chaos broke out on the spot. This young couple, the couple looked at the rolling black fog spreading from 2 kilometers away, and there was no time to think about it. They turned around and ran on the spot. Ma Fei's profession is an assassin. Although it is an ordinary profession, his agility is relatively high, and his equipment has many speed bonuses. His girlfriend is a shooter, with high agility. Although she has short legs, she can run very fast. The two of them shuttled on the street towards the distance. As the two of them ran, they quickly accumulated a lot of dark instant death energy, which entangled them. Compared with those who were in the building or on the rooftop, this young couple was lucky, because they were still a certain distance away from the building. It was twice as easy to escape from this area than others, of course. The most important thing was that their own speed was fast enough. Ma Fei, you fucking hurry up and get out of here. This black fog is a total of 3 kilometers, and you are less than 1 kilometer away from the edge. You should be able to make it in time with your speed. At this time, Ma Fei's communication crystal ring rang, and his brother Ma Yi's private chat came over. Ma Fei had no time to reply. He ran in the opposite direction at the fastest speed, less than 1 kilometer. At my current speed, I can make it in time. Fortunately, there were people here before, and all the monsters around were cleared. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if there were monsters blocking the way. Ma Fei breathed a sigh of relief. In the next 10 seconds, he experienced life and death. Fortunately, he had a good initial position and ran the fastest. Finally, when the instant death meter on his body was superimposed to 55%, he rushed out of the black fog, looking at the gray sky and streets in front of him. Ma Fei was trembling with fear. He didn't even dare to stop after he ran out, and continued to run forward. I didn't expect it. Something happened. The reminder from the embassy is too accurate. If it weren't for that reminder that made me and my brother argue for several minutes, we would be the ones jumping off the roof now, right? Ma Fei was extremely bitter. He was actually quite cautious, but the temptation of 10 points for all attributes was too great. Besides, with so many people there, he didn't think anything would happen. He just had to worship the statue and leave immediately. But the statue actually played such a big trick. Suddenly, Ma Fei felt as if he had overlooked something while running. Hey, where's my girlfriend? He looked back. As expected, he found that his girlfriend was gone. The twin-tailed girl of the archer profession was originally following Ma Fei. However, her speed was indeed a little slower than Ma Fei. Originally, it would not have had much of an impact if she was a little slower. With her speed, she should have been able to escape the range of the instant death energy when the instant death gauge was stacked to about 75%, which would have been 3 to 5 seconds later than Ma Fei. But unfortunately, the long-tailed snake goddess statue on the rooftop made a new move. When her chest cracked and the instant death energy gushed out, the crack gradually split the entire statue in half from top to bottom. An epic boss, long-tailed snake demon with a charming posture and holding a halberd, appeared in the center of the instant death black fog. The gray statue case that was split into 2 halves actually shrank and turned into a stone slab, which fell into the hands of the long-tailed snake demon. She has a human body, a snake tail, purple skin, a pair of snake-like pupils, and a faint disdainful smile on her lips. After coming out of the statue, the long-tailed snake demon successfully obtained all the skills of her as an epic boss, and it took her 7 or 8 seconds to walk out of the statue, taste death. Inferior blue star human race, the long-tailed snake demon looked at the fleeing people around with disdain, and her light purple snake tail swam on the rooftop, making her upper body sway rhythmically. At the same time, she raised the black halberd in her hand. An epic skill, Void Pull, began to be released. This skill takes several seconds to cast. During this time, hundreds of people have escaped from the coverage of the deadly black fog from all directions. There are also thousands of people who are about to escape the range, but unfortunately, when the long-tailed snake demon's skills are ready, these thousands of people are facing despair. The long-tailed snake demon waved the halberd in front of her, and the black aura condensed into a large black ball with a diameter of more than 10 meters in front of her. This large black ball was a rotating void energy just after it was born. It had a terrifying attraction to people within 3 kilometers around it. It pulled everyone around towards the large black ball on the rooftop, just like a magnet. Originally, Ma Fei's girlfriend was about to escape from the range of the deadly black fog. She was so anxious that she almost cried. Just now I said that Daxia was all cowards. I didn't expect them to have foresight. Fortunately, I'm fast enough, and I'm still in time. She even saw the edge of the black fog range. In 2 seconds, she can escape from this area. But at this moment, the girl with double ponytails suddenly felt a terrifying suction coming from behind her, which instantly sucked her up. I'll beat you to death. I'll beat you to death. Save me. Save me. The girl was horrified, waving her claws and teeth in the air, trying to grab something randomly. But she didn't catch anything. She was affected by the void traction, and her figure, which was originally running far away, flew up in an instant, and then was sucked to the rooftop where the long-tailed snake demon was like a magnet. The big black ball, condensed by the void traction, sucked back all the people around who wanted to escape. From a distance, it was as if there were many black dots in all directions, which were sucked onto the surface of the black sphere of the void traction. After a while, the surface of the big black ball attracted tens of thousands of people. Even the entire radio station building had many cracks, and it became tilted and collapsed. Countless people who were originally squeezed inside the building were also sucked up from the cracks in the building by the void traction. No, impossible. The girl with twin ponytails turned pale. She watched the safe area getting farther and farther away from her, and it was like falling into the abyss. An irrepressible regret filled her mind. Obviously, the people at the Daxia embassy had already warned her that something might happen and issued an evacuation order. But she insisted on committing suicide. She even mocked the Daxia people for being timid. Ma Fei always says that a gentleman does not stand under a dangerous wall, and I always say that he shows off his boring culture. Now it seems that the ancient people of Daxia understood the truth, but I actually disdained it. No, I don't want to die. The girl with twin ponytails was sucked back, and the death scale on her body quickly increased by 85%, 90%. Suddenly, she felt that she hit something behind her, and her spine was broken with a click. Her head tilted, staring, and she completely lost her breath. Just then, Ma Fei finally met up with his brother Ma Yi outside. Ma Yi and his long-haired gentle girlfriend are now afraid. Although they didn't catch up, they were always concerned about Ma Fei and his girlfriend. So they used the Book of Divine Revelation to make a telescope to observe the situation within the black fog. At this time, The couple stood on a bridge in the distance. Maffei came over according to the location and asked breathlessly, "Brother, have you seen Risa?" Risa is his girlfriend with twin ponytails. When he asked this, Mai and his long-haired girlfriend were a little silent. In fact, after they saw the situation in the black fog, they were already a little scalp numb. Risa didn't escape. Mai's face was bitter, and his voice was a little hoarse as he said, "She was sucked back by the boss. Sucked back." Maffei was stunned. At this time, Mai handed the telescope to Maffei. Maffei picked it up and took a look. Suddenly, his pupils suddenly shrank, and the whole person was shocked and stiff in place. He saw a scalp-numbing scene through the picture of the telescope. On the rooftop of the radio building that had already collapsed and tilted, there was a long-tailed snake demon holding a halberd. She had purple skin and a charming figure, and her purple snake tail was swimming leisurely above the rooftop. There was a giant black ball with a diameter of more than 10 meters. On that big black ball, there were densely packed human corpses. Looking through the telescope, the area within the faint black fog had become a dead silent area. There were densely packed corpses of countless people sucked on the big black ball, and countless life light balls exploded and fell to the ground, piling up like a mountain. This, Risa. Maffei knelt down on the bridge in pain. His brother sighed and patted his shoulder. "It's uncomfortable." Maffei. In fact, I just contacted Senior Kong from the embassy and reported the situation here. As a result, Senior Kong was also a little surprised. He said that it was actually the Shadow who reminded them to issue an evacuation order. Unexpectedly, something really happened. Shadow. Hearing his brother say this, Maffei was a little dazed. So it was that person, Shadow, even though he was in the Sakura country. He was also influenced by it and learned too much about the deeds of the Shadow in the Magic City, in Guangzhou and Hong Kong, and even not long ago in Los Angeles. The deeds of the Shadow are simply a legend. Maffei burst into tears. If I had known it was Shadow's reminder, I wouldn't have gone Risa. My Risa. Stop crying. Get ready to run. Mai took out another telescope and looked at the situation in the black fog. His face became very solemn. As long as this boss absorbs the lifespan, it will definitely continue to kill people. Her instant death energy is too deadly in reality. It's useless to hide anywhere. Any building will be penetrated. Get ready to leave Dongdu. But just as he said this, suddenly he saw a shocking scene through the telescope. I saw a white bone sword pterosaur on the horizon, spreading its wings and swooping straight towards the long-tailed snake demon on the tilted rooftop. Is this a hero's appearance? Mai widened his eyes, and even his breathing became rapid. Long before the desolation spread, people all over the world had heard about it. The world's #1 shadow has a white bone-winged dragon mount, more than 20 meters long, magnificent and oppressive. Although no one has the light and shadow crystal yet, no one has recorded the image of the dragon. But now, as soon as Mai saw the swooping dragon with its wings spread, he immediately thought of Shadow's mount. Shadow appears. He has killed Epic Boss twice. I just don't know what level this snake woman is. Mai looked at the scene in the telescope and was a little frightened. If it was in the game, he could clearly see the grade, level, and name behind it. Name of the boss? But in reality, there are no such marks until now. Mai didn't know what the name of the long-tailed snake demon was, what grade it was, and what level it was. He only knew that this was at least an epic boss. Otherwise, it would not have such a strong energy surrounding the death affix. But Mai had never come into contact with diamond and epic bosses, so he had no idea about them. He was a relatively strong player in the ruins of Dongdu, and he was the main force in the diplomatic guild established by Daxia, but he was only brushing platinum bosses. It was too difficult for him to understand diamond and epic bosses. But inexplicably, when Mai saw the swooping bone-winged dragon, he was relieved all of a sudden. Strange. I don't even know what grade that boss is. But when I saw Shadow's mount, I was inexplicably relieved. Mai originally thought that he was going to leave Dongdu, but now it seems that there is still a chance. But why did Shadow appear here? Both Mai and Maffei were very confused. The long-haired gentle female priest standing next to Mai opened her eyes wide and looked at the giant bone-winged dragon that appeared in the sky in the distance. Extremely shocked. Is that Shadow? Why is he here? Did he wait until now to show up? Just to let the snake girl kill so many people from our Sakura country? For a moment, the female priest blamed Shadow. This is the habitual moral kidnapping. Even her idea is still good. What's more, some people might think that Qinfeng and the snake girl have joined forces to kill the people of Sakura country. No matter what the people around Sakura country think, since Qinfeng took the initiative to appear, there is only one possibility. He has to find a way to operate Fei again, although he can kill the boss silently. Firstly, he has no experience in killing monsters in reality. And secondly, it took an hour to fly all the way here. Isn't it a pity to kill only an epic boss? What's more, if this boss is really solved, it will be good for Sakura country. Qinfeng can't do such a good thing in vain. At least let Sakura country spit out something. This boss can only stay in the turbulent area, in reality, and cannot go to the mild area. So keeping it will not cause the entire East City to fall. But killing this boss does provide more living space for the players of East City. So you have to pay more, of course. In fact, after the spread of the wasteland, not many people would go to the turbulent area in reality. So the existence of this long-tailed snake demon has little impact on the players of East City. In the previous life, This boss ran away after absorbing so much life and went back to the game world to hide, and finally advanced to the legendary level, and its range of activities was limited to areas with a life flow rate of more than 100 times. It was not until 4 or 5 years after the spread of the wasteland that the long-tailed snake demon was killed by the top team of Sakura Country. At this moment, when Qinfeng appeared on Osiris and swooped down towards the unknown long-tailed snake demon, he shouted in great grief and anger, Cousin, when I heard you say that there is a statue here and that worshipping it can have attributes, I felt something was wrong. But I didn't expect that I was still late. Bold demon, you killed my cousin. You will not die well. Qinfeng shouted this. The long-tailed snake demon was confused. She was originally indoctrinated in the language of Sakura Country, but now when she heard Qinfeng shouting, she was naturally indoctrinated in the language of Daxia, so she realized that this was a foreign player. When she heard this, she laughed immediately. The lowly blue star human wants to avenge your relatives? Sister, I killed him 30,000 people. Which one is your cousin? She showed off her smooth upper body. Her light purple snake tail slid on the rooftop, her eyes raised, holding a long spear. You can deal with my sister alone. Can you do it? Little dog. From the perspective of the long-tailed snake demon, she is indeed qualified to look down on the human players of Blue Star. One wave can kill more than 100 thousands. It's as easy as stepping on an ant for her. Of course, she doesn't care about an individual human player, but it's a pity. The appearance of Qinfeng will be the nightmare of this boss. When Osiris swooped down, Qinfeng shouted sadly and angry while entering the invisible state. Jump off the mount, fall from the sky. And the hero appears. End mark. Blessing liberation, 1,000 blades break. Ruthless cutting. Finally, instant annihilation. In just 1 second, countless invisible sword lights appeared in the long-tailed snake demon. The demon's enchanting body was slashed, although in reality, this boss is still epic in strength. The hundreds of millions of HP means that its vitality is extremely strong. Qinfeng's set of moves made her burst into purple blood all over her body. In fact, when Qinfeng just made a move and the long-tailed snake demon just realized that she was attacked, she immediately reacted. In just 1 second, this boss released as many as 3 skills. A void shot can push away and shake away the surrounding enemies. A fragrant burning bones allows her to weaken the surrounding male enemies. These 2 skills are used to deal with opponents with stronger attacks. She was attacked in a flash. He realized that the human who attacked him was not simple, so he subconsciously released these 2 skills. Unfortunately, these 2 skills, one is control, and the other is also a negative effect of weakness, which was directly blocked by Qinfeng's inviolable affix. Of course, this long-tailed snake demon is worthy of being an epic boss. After these 2 skills, Qinfeng's inviolable affix was deducted by more than 40 points, which shows the strength of these 2 skills. Fortunately, Qinfeng has enough inviolable affixes. He was unmoved and continued to chase and kill. The last skill released by the long-tailed snake demon was Snake Walks the World, which made her burst out quickly, move quickly. She wanted to avoid Qinfeng's attack. However, Qinfeng's attack followed her like a shadow. Even though she swam more than 200 meters in 1 second, Qinfeng's instant destruction still hit her accurately. Qinfeng's speed exceeded the speed of sound. How could he let her run away? And this wave of explosion? Because Qinfeng deliberately held back and did not release the shadow of severe killing, the damage was only a quarter of the full explosion. But it still caused the long-tailed snake demon to be seriously injured. If it were in the game, her health would have been reduced by 1/3 by this attack, and this made this epic boss fall into a state of extreme shock. How is it possible? How can human players at this stage have such high output? No wonder you dare to deal with me alone. The long-tailed snake demon, who was originally leisurely and high-handed, suddenly fell to the bottom. In an instant, this enchanting snake beauty was a little flustered. She released a skill void walking reflexively. After this skill was released, her entire figure became translucent and entered the void state, which was unselectable, except for the upper level affixes. No other method can affect her. In this state, you can't attack me, as long as I'm not killed instantly. You will fill up the instant death scale. The long-tailed snake demon sneered. But what she didn't know was that in order to deal with her, Qinfeng now adjusted all the upper level resistances to instant death. The instant death resistance is as high as more than 700, plus the current instant death scale is reduced by 10% per second. Qinfeng's instant death gauge will never be full. Qinfeng didn't kill this guy in one go because it was useful to keep her. First, he could drive her into the game and kill her. When a monster in reality encounters a crisis, its first reaction is to find a crack, return to the game, and survive. In that case, Qinfeng can kill it in the game and get an extra experience reward. Second, of course, he can take this opportunity to make the Sakura official willingly give out a lifespan. No money. Then I don't care about this epic boss that escaped back to the game. You can deal with it yourself. At the same time, when the people of the Sakura country around him looked at this sudden scene and heard Qinfeng shouting, they were suddenly a little confused. Cousin. This boss actually killed Shadow's cousin. Is it true? Some of them suddenly felt that this scene seemed familiar. It seemed like they had heard of it before the desolation spread. At this time, the real Dongdu has completely fallen into silence. with the location of the long-tailed snake demon as the center. The surrounding 3 kilometers are all shrouded in the black fog of the energy of the instant death affix. Within the range of the black fog, a full 130,000 people were sucked onto the big black ball of void pulling, and became 130,000 corpses. And outside the range of the black fog, there are people who escaped death like Ma Fei. There are also some people who originally wanted to come to worship, but got into trouble before they arrived. There are also some people who came after hearing the news, because it is in reality. Many of these people are holding devices such as mobile phones, zooming out, and shooting the situation in the field. Although the global network was interrupted after the spread of desolation, electronic products such as mobile phones can still be used after all. There are special divine books that can be used to generate electricity and make some electrical appliances that originally existed in reality. In the mobile phone cameras of many people around, the big black ball in the air has expanded to a radius of more than 30 meters due to the accumulation of corpses. The void traction force brought by the big black ball has twisted and squeezed the absorbed human corpses, although at this time, the big black ball has lost its suction force. But the absorbed human corpses are all stuck together by sticky flesh and blood. And the scene is like a sure hell. Many people around are vomiting while shooting videos. Countless people are terrified. Witnessing this Shura-like scene with their own eyes may become their nightmare for a long time. When the incident broke out, many people, like Ma Yi, felt that they could not stay in Dongdu. But what they never expected was that a giant bone-winged flying dragon appeared in the sky. Shadow. It's really Shadow. Is it true that the snake girl killed his cousin as he said? Nonsense. How could Shadow have a cousin in our Sakura country? Then the snake girl is dead. She is bleeding heavily. I didn't expect her blood to be purple. Wait, is the color of her blood the key? The key is that she turned into a state of nothingness. I know this state. If she keeps this state, even Shadow can't kill her. With such strong instant death energy around now, Shadow can't hold on for long. Right? Countless people were first surprised, then shocked, and then nervous. The situation in the field affected the mood of all of them. Although Shadow is not from their Sakura country. But compared with monsters, at least Shadow is a human. They naturally hope that Shadow can help them kill this long-tailed snake demon, Xinfeng. On the other hand, was not in a hurry at all, and followed the long-tailed snake demon in the void-walking state leisurely. He even cancelled the invisibility, riding Osiris. He followed the long-tailed snake demon in the sky. Due to the terrible damage Qinfeng caused at the beginning, the long-tailed snake demon had realized that something was wrong, since this human in front of me came to attack me alone. He must have some skills. Although the damage is high, it's a pity. The long-tailed snake demon maintained a semi-transparent void-walking state and was walking towards the nearest crack. She was expecting that the human assassin behind her would be scared away by her instant death energy. On the other hand, she was also making preparations for both situations. If the situation was not good, she could immediately pass through the crack and return to the game world. But just as she was swimming and running away, Osiris carried Qinfeng and chased after him, laughing. Little snake, my human assassin sees that you still have charm. Just follow him. Although your body sizes don't match, it doesn't matter. Your brother Long has agreed to this marriage? Hearing this, the long-tailed snake demon bit her lip while running away. Her purple eyes seemed to look at Osiris with some pity. You came up and wanted to kill me. Too violent. How dare I? The words were not finished. Her eyes suddenly became cold, and at the same time, the halberd in her hand shot a series of dark death rays at Qinfeng on Osiris's back. This attack has the instant death affix at a glance. If you attack this long-tailed snake demon normally, this skill is not terrible. After all, in the game, even if the instant death gauge is full, it means dying and losing a little life, but in reality, this skill is extremely terrifying. The most important thing is that the speed of its rays is too fast. In just a moment, 7 or 8 death rays passed by Qinfeng. What? The face of the long-tailed snake demon changed drastically. She thought this move, enough to kill the human assassin unexpectedly. But unexpectedly, Qinfeng always remained vigilant. With Qinfeng's reaction speed, he just casually turned sideways and slid to completely avoid the 7 or 8 death rays. In fact, even if Qinfeng did not dodge, he would not die, because his resistance to instant death is too high. As for the attached basic damage, there is a shield to avoid damage. Even if his shield is broken, he still has a basic dodge rate of more than 98%. By now, Qinfeng's combat power in reality has long been completely synchronized with that in the game. Of course, this consumed a lot of his life. It takes 31 years to extract any level 30 legendary equipment. In addition to various initial epic and legendary skills, it took him nearly 20,000 years of life to extract them all. If there was no pig farm in North America, Qinfeng would not be so extravagant. But after this wave of Sakura country, Qinfeng will become even richer. Hey, little snake. You're doing your job. You dare to resist? Osirio watched the long-tailed snake demon attack and immediately laughed jokingly. Get ready. The human assassin has become invisible again. The next time he appears, he will be the ultimate killer. Sure enough, the long-tailed snake demon saw that the assassin on Osirio's back had disappeared. This made her face darken. She checked the duration of her void walking, and there were only a few seconds left. This made her grit her teeth, finally made up her mind and stopped waiting. Rushed towards the dark crack 1 kilometer away. It was a black crack more than 10 meters high, stretching across a street in Dongdu. The purple snake woman's body, which was as high as 2 or 3 stories, moved quickly in this turbulent area. Because she was in the void walking state, she could even pass directly through the building without affecting the physical world at all. Finally, she arrived. Seeing that she had only 2 seconds left to walk in the void, she directly broke into the crack from reality. She traveled back to the ruins of Dongdu in the game. When her enchanting figure disappeared, Qianfeng finally appeared at the entrance of the crack, pretending to be a little regretful. Alas, what a pity. I didn't make it. In the end, this snake girl is too cunning. He pretended to be talking to Ocilio from a distance. In fact, he was talking to the Sakura country players around him who were not having a good life. When the long-tailed snake demon was driven into the hole by Qianfeng, the people of Sakura country who were watching this scene were all dumbfounded. Shadow actually let someone escape. They couldn't quite accept this ending, but there was nothing they could do. After all, they could all see that the long-tailed snake demon was indeed in a semi-transparent, void-walking state that could not be attacked. When escaping, she would not even hit a tall building, but would pass through it directly. In this case, it was completely understandable that Shadow could not kill the other party. But of course, they didn't know. If Qianfeng wanted to kill this long-tailed snake demon, he didn't need to show up. He could secretly activate the Shadow of Killing and instantly burst it out by 4, and the long-tailed snake demon would have died. The current situation was just a situation Qianfeng deliberately created. Oh, serious. Let's go back to where we were just now and take all our lives. When the long-tailed snake demon escaped, Qianfeng rode Osirios and quickly returned to the half-collapsed radio station building. Here, the big black ball has fallen to the ground, and the bodies of people have piled up into a small hill. The white life light balls, big or small, look extremely eerie under the gray sky. Qianfeng came riding on Osiris and saw that there were already many people around, so he wanted to take this opportunity to run over and steal these lifespans. Just now, the long-tailed snake demon was running all the way, and the 3-kilometer diameter death black fog area was also moving constantly. Many people who were watching were shocked. Fortunately, they escaped from reality quickly. No more people died because of this. But after the black fog area left, the mountain of life, light balls in the radio station building became the target of many people. And when Qianfeng returned riding on Osiris, in just over 10 seconds, no one had succeeded, seeing the return of the Shadow. All those people who were ready to move stopped and dared not approach again. They had no doubt that if they planned to rob, Shadow would definitely teach them a lesson. If it was in the game, perhaps many people would take risks. As long as they robbed quickly enough, they would make money even if they died. But in reality, death is death. Who dares to take risks? However, when Qianfeng arrived, he was a little headache looking at the life balls and corpses everywhere. He had long been accustomed to this kind of scene. Death was too common after the spread of desolation. But with so many corpses, even if the flower curse skill was not cooled down, it would take a long time to absorb them all. Qianfeng thought about it, and finally spent 500 evolution points to evolve the flower curse skill from the legendary level to the mythical level. Maybe it can make the absorption speed faster. It's a pity that the result made Qianfeng a little disappointed. Flower Curse Legendary, arrive Mythical. Use it on the corpse of a player who has been dead for no more than 300 seconds, arrive 600 seconds. And the cursed flower will bloom, absorbing the tradable lifespan. Legendary effect. Absorb 50% of the target's remaining non-tradable lifespan at the same time. It can also absorb non-tradable lifespan light balls. Mythical new effect. Can be used on the corpse of a monster that has been dead for no more than 600 seconds, absorbing up to 5 times the dropped lifespan. Originally, it could only be used on the corpse of a player. After the mythical level, it can be used on the corpse of a monster. For example, if the loot dropped by a monster contains 20 years of tradable lifespan, then Qianfeng can use the Flower Curse to absorb up to 100 years of lifespan from the monster's corpse. For another example, there is an epic boss monster whose basic lifespan dropped is between 700-800 years. Then using the Flower Curse on its corpse can absorb up to 4,000 years of tradable lifespan. In this way, I can get 10 times more life than the average person. After all, Qianfeng originally had the skill of Greedy Hand, which could give him 6 or 7 more life bonuses from the monster's corpse. Now with the Flower Curse, the total is more than 10 times the original. I need 8,000 evolution points for the next evolution. I don't have so many evolution points for this skill at the moment. Qianfeng shook his head with a bit of regret. Even if he had enough evolution points, Qianfeng would not give them to this skill, as other main combat skills require more evolution points, so Qianfeng could only slowly absorb the Hill of Life light balls in the field, one after another. Scarlet flowers bloomed on the corpses of people. It's a funeral for you, Qianfeng sighed. Not to mention, when he raised his hand and used the Flower Curse on the corpses, one by one curse, the scene suddenly became beautiful. Originally it was a bloody hell-like Shura field, now it has become a beautiful red sea of flowers. It's not too much to charge some interest for helping people with funerals. Under the absorption of the cursed flowers, all their remaining tradable lifespans and half of their non-tradable lifespans were absorbed. The people around were a little dazed watching this scene. watching the scarlet flowers blooming and the corpses in the field constantly turning into white mist. Many people burst into tears, because they had relatives and friends who died here. And even many official Dongdu personnel were buried here. They wanted to take the bodies of their relatives and friends away. But unfortunately, under the void traction of the long-tailed snake demon, all the corpses were either torn into pieces or squeezed flat. More than 100,000 corpses were finally piled into a sphere with a radius of more than 30 meters. You can imagine how tragic it was. There is no complete corpse anymore. More and more Dongdu people gathered. More and more people came. But the scene was extremely quiet. They looked at the mountain full of flowers with grief, and the arrival of such a disaster made countless people at a loss. And when they looked at Osilio and Qin Feng, their mood was extremely complicated. Privately, some people wanted Qin Feng to get out of Dongdu, but of course they didn't dare to say so openly. How much they wished that they had such a strong man in Sakura country. But unfortunately, Shadow was from Daxia. The most important thing is, now the long-tailed snake demon has escaped back to the game. In addition to Shadow, who else can put an end to the terrifying boss? Just at this moment, Qin Feng received a private message from Wan Yewei, telling him that the official staff of Dongdu hoped to negotiate with him. Finally here, Qin Feng's mouth curled up slightly. He was waiting for this moment. When the long-tailed snake demon returned to the ruins of Dongdu in the game, the disaster of Dongdu players had just begun. Who else can solve this problem? Besides Shadow? It was at this time, in the godforsaken game, more than 200 kilometers west of the ruins of Dongdu, Ichiro Tashima, Hojo, Yoshida, and others, the top player team of the ruins of Dongdu, are leveling up separately in the disaster area of Hot Quicksand, where the flow rate of life is 100 times faster. 60 people are divided into 10 teams, each occupying several monster spawning points. Just a few minutes ago, everyone in this team was excited and full of beautiful visions for the future, because from Ichiro Tashima's perspective, as more and more people worship the statue, his full attributes have been superimposed by nearly 100 points, making his overall strength soar to a higher level. But at this time, the official Dongdu sent them a message. The long-tailed snake goddess statue of Dongdu unexpectedly split into a boss-level monster, and in less than half a minute, it killed more than 100 Dongdu people. When Ichiro Tashima and his team heard the news, all 60 people in the team were stunned. How is it possible? That statue actually cracked, and a snake lady boss came out. It also comes with an instant death affix. More than 100,000 people died within 3 kilometers. Ichiro Tashima and others were all shocked. Originally, everyone in the team envied Ichiro Tashima for being able to obtain hidden rewards and get more and more full attribute rewards from the statue. They even calculated it seriously. If there were 100 million people in the whole Sakura country to worship the statue, wouldn't Ichiro Tashima be able to get 100 zillion full attributes? If that time really comes, I can kill Shadow with a slap. Ichiro Tashima was dreaming. He felt that one day, as long as he continued, he would be able to change from fantasy to enjoyment sooner or later. And such a wonderful thing made Ichiro Tashima always feel that all this was an illusion. Is it an illusion? Ichiro Tashima is still very vigilant. For this reason, he also did many experiments when killing monsters. Find someone to observe the damage, monster health, etc., and conduct damage tests. As a result, it turns out that everything is normal. After his attributes are improved, his damage begins to increase, and every bit of attribute enhancement allows him to feel the improvement of strength. If it is just his own feeling, it may be an illusion. But the key is that the people around him have the same observation results as him. Everything seems normal. But if Qin Feng is here, he will know. When these people worship the statue, the 100 days of life they handed in will not only modify their cognition, but also modify the cognition of those around them. Even if there are unreasonable situations, they will ignore them directly. This is the effect from Order. Order is the domination and crushing of mortals by the gods. After confirming that the attribute improvement is effective, Ichiro Tashima and others will seize the time to kill monsters and upgrade, and secretly mobilize more people to worship the statue. Just when they were looking forward to the future, they didn't expect that reality would give him a heavy slap in the face so soon. That statue turned out to be a boss, and killed more than 100,000 people. This is not scary. What's more scary is, when Ichiro Tashima heard the news, his first reaction was not that they caused this disaster. The first thing he thought of was, that's more than 100,000 people. How many of them have not been worshipped? If so many people died, wouldn't he lose hundreds of points of all attribute benefits? Ichiro Tashima gathered everyone together and said in a deep voice, I knew things would not go smoothly. The bald priest Yoshida frowned. Could it be that we were used by that boss? The cold-looking white-haired assassin Hojo snorted. Bullshit. Are you crazy? Do you want to take the responsibility for the deaths of so many people? Ichiro Tashima waved his hand and said seriously, the latest news now is that the Shadow of Daxia has come to our Dongdu, according to the news on the scene. The boss seems to have killed the cousin of the Shadow and was chased back to the game by the Shadow. Now our Dongdu official is negotiating with Daxia and the Shadow and plans to pay the price to let the Shadow kill the boss. In the field, a female priest holding a priest's staff immediately raised her hand when she heard this. Her name is Yanagi Mina, and she has secretly been involved with Ichiro Tashima. She just said confidently, We must not let Shadow kill the boss, otherwise, wouldn't Tashima-kun's future be ruined? As long as the boss is not dead, she may continue to transform into a statue. Let people worship her, and add all attributes to Tashima-kun. Bald Priest Yoshida frowned again. But now the boss has returned to the ruins of Dongdu. The official will not let her go, and will definitely let Shadow help solve it, no matter how much it costs. Yanagi Mina sneered. Don't you think it's strange? The statue turned into the boss to kill people, and we didn't even mourn for everyone's death for a moment? Shadow rushed to the scene immediately, so I guess that this incident might have been planned by Shadow. And how could his cousin be in Dongdu? I heard before that when he massacred the non-national guilds in Guanggang, he also said that someone killed his cousin? Do you really think we are fools? So, as long as people think that Shadow planned this incident, the officials will hesitate and even give up the idea of paying Shadow. At least it can delay the negotiation time. To some extent, we and the boss are both victims. So why can't we cooperation? Everyone heard this. This seems to make sense, right? Next, Yanagi Mina talked about a lot of details of the cooperation. They can take advantage of the Sakura country official negotiating with Shadow to find an opportunity to quietly hide the boss first. That way, even if Shadow really wants to kill the boss, he can't find where the boss is. First of all, I just asked someone and found that the statue is the shell of the boss, a prop, and it can definitely be activated again and become a statue again. Through recent observations, we all know that many monsters have limited action areas in reality. So far, no boss above gold has been found to be able to reach the mild area, so the boss cannot run around in reality with her own ability. But we secretly moved the statue through the mild area before, which shows that she can come to the mild area in the statue state, but she can't move in the statue state. From her request that we put the statue on the rooftop of the building, it is very likely that she can only come out of the statue state in an area with a life flow rate of more than 10 times. This is the fact they discovered after the spread of the wasteland. And it is also the basis for them to negotiate with the boss. In addition, even if Shadow and boss are really colluding, boss cannot completely trust Shadow. After all, Shadow can get epic loot by killing her, which is the natural contradiction and conflict between players and monsters. Yanagi Mina said confidently, but we are different. For us, only when the boss is alive can we maximize our benefits. Therefore, as long as boss has a brain, she will definitely cooperate with us. We can protect her from being hunted by the shadows. After hearing these words, Bald Priest Yoshida frowned again. But even if we really saved boss now that something like this has happened, who dares to worship? Yanagi Mina said with a smile. Middle-aged men are stupid. Boss wants to trick people to kill, so let her kill. As long as the next person she kills is not our own people in Sakura country. Isn't it okay? After the spread of the wasteland, the global network is cut off, and electromagnetic signals cannot pass through the area where the life flow rate doubles. In other words, global communications are almost stagnant. In this case, it is difficult for other countries to learn about the statue. Boss wants to kill people. We cooperate with her, help her, and help send the statue to other countries, such as Africa. With the ignorance of Africa, it will definitely be crazier than us. At that time, if they worship one more, we will earn one, and even if something happens, it has nothing to do with us. For the boss, he must be willing to accept such cooperation. She was getting more and more excited, and her tone was getting more and more passionate. But Ichiro Tashima frowned as he listened to her. Finally, he couldn't stand it anymore, and said coldly, "Shut up." Yanagi Mina's words were interrupted, and she was a little speechless. She looked at Ichiro Tashima with grievance and pity. What's wrong? Tashima-kun, is there anything wrong with what I said? I'm thinking about your future, and I hope you can become a man who surpasses Shadow. Ichiro Tashima was silent for a moment, and said, "You are right, but if I were the boss, I would choose to cooperate with Shadow and help him improve his attributes infinitely." As soon as these words came out, everyone around was speechless. Compared with Mina Yanagi's long speech, Ichiro Tashima's words were simple and rough, and it was absolutely a killer. But Mina Yanagi's face flushed, and she said unwillingly, "But Tashima-kun, you are the son of heaven. None of us got the hidden reward. Only you got it, even Shadow. You may not get the hidden reward, right?" Ichiro Tashima was silent for a long time. Finally, he made a decision. "Everyone listen. Let this matter take its course. Everyone. Don't interfere. Just wait and see." When Shadow was involved, Ichiro Tashima always felt that something was wrong. Is his so-called hidden reward with infinite superposition attributes really random? Is he, Ichiro Tashima, really the chosen one? If Qinfeng knew about Ichiro Tashima's doubts, he would definitely tell him in no uncertain terms. "Yes, you are the chosen one. Don't doubt yourself. Continue." At this time, Qinfeng was quickly absorbing the life in the field. He looked at the white life light balls in front of him and roughly estimated that it would take more than an hour to absorb all these life light balls. "I didn't expect that picking up money would be so tiring," Qinfeng sighed. While he was picking up money, he was communicating with the official representative of Sakura country through the communication crystal ring chat. The other party came with dozens of people, hurried over, and then added Qinfeng as a friend from a distance, mainly discussing the reward for helping to kill the long-tailed snake demon. However, neither Qinfeng nor Ichiro Tashima knew, at this moment, that Yanagi Mina was not willing to do nothing. After being stopped by Ichiro Tashima, the female priest became even crazier. with determination in her eyes, thinking to herself, Mr. Tashima, I understand your concerns, but I must think about your future and let the boss survive. When I'm done with all this, you will thank me, and the shadow will eventually crawl at your feet. If Ichiro Tashima knew her thoughts, he would definitely collapse on the spot and curse. What kind of ordinary woman? Pig teammate. 3,000 words chapter Gaia. Asking for power for love? Tita. There are so few data recently. Please support. At this time, Hinfeng was negotiating a price with the official representative of Sakura country. This time, Hinfeng took the initiative to offer a price of 30 Wozen years of life. The other party naturally could not accept this price, so they were arguing. Just at this time, the Gray Chicken, who was walking and patrolling in the surrounding area, suddenly sent a message to Qinfeng. Fuck. There is a team here who is plotting to assassinate the Emperor. Do you need me to deal with it? The little guy's voice was extremely cold, and he also made an onomatopoeia of K, which was very funny. This made Qinfeng smile secretly. He replied, don't worry. Now the negotiations are deadlocked, and it's a bit tiring to pick up money all the time. It's not bad to have some people perform some shows. It's just right to use this as an excuse to squeeze more life from the official Sakura country. Anyway, Qinfeng can't be in danger. After learning about this, Qinfeng felt a little emotional. This is worthy of being the Sakura country. Sure enough, even though he appeared here so blatantly, someone dared to make a move. In this case, Qinfeng would give them a little shock. Not far from the half-collapsed radio building, there was a team that was secretly observing Qinfeng and plotting to kill Qinfeng in the team channel. This was a full-strength team of 60 people. Most of the team members were men, and each of them had a white cloth wrapped around their forehead with a red circle pattern on it. That was the flag of the Sakura country. They were all indignant, and when they mentioned Shadow, they wanted to tear it into pieces. At this moment, they had already planned the assassination plan and were making the final mobilization. This time, our Dongdu encountered such a disaster, which must be related to the Shadow. Otherwise, how could the statue suddenly appear in our city? And after the statue killed people, he immediately appeared, which clearly showed that he had been waiting for a long time. Kill the Shadow and defend the country. Kill the Shadow and defend the country. This group of people were excited and were members of the same guild, Yamato Tenjin. They were originally attracted by the disaster caused by the long-tailed snake demon and wanted to see the situation. As a result, they unexpectedly discovered that the Shadow from Daxia was blatantly absorbing the life light ball and negotiating terms with them officially. How could they tolerate this? If it was invisible, it would be fine. You are so arrogant on our land. You are looking for death. In fact, the surrounding Sakura citizens were very unhappy, but Qinfeng was too strong, so they could do nothing. Although they were unhappy, most people didn't dare to do anything to Qinfeng. The reason they didn't dare to do so was naturally their lack of strength. At this time, the players of the Yamato God Guild dared to attack Qinfeng, and they naturally thought they could kill Qinfeng. Their biggest reliance was a hidden profession, the teleporter. In the team, once the raid began, the teleporter would teleport them to the target at the same time and immediately start concentrated fire. Shadow must have a very high inviolable affix, but with 60 of us, one control skill per person can clear all his inviolable affixes, especially our mage group, which has skills such as petrification, paralysis, immobilization, and silence, as well as super control skills that can be chanted for up to 10 seconds, which can break several inviolable affixes at one time. This is their first strategy, targeting Qinfeng's inviolable affix. As for Qinfeng's damage shield, it is easier to deal with. There were 7 priests in the crowd, and they had little attacking ability in battle, so each of them prepared a submachine gun in their hands, firing more than 10 rounds per second, which added up to 70 or 80 rounds per second, all shot at Shadow. And no matter how many shields there were, they could not resist. In this way, both the inviolability and shields were solved, since he is not invisible. Don't blame us for being rude. People couldn't do anything to him before because his stealth level was too high. This time we controlled him with lightning speed. The most important thing is the control skill. When we suddenly attack, we will definitely be able to take down Shadow. As long as Shadow dies, Daxia will lose its greatest reliance. 60 people suddenly attacked one person. The leader of the Yamato God Guild believed that no one in the world could stop it. But unless it was the invisible Shadow, they had no target to attack. But now, Shadow was too careless. In that case, let us make your Shadow become the dust of history. No matter how strong you are, you can only be history. In history, there are countless people who are like this, and you are just one of them in this new era. Our nation will surely reach the top of the world, and then everyone will remember that it was us who got rid of the pest that harmed the whole world. The Shadow. Now start preparing to teleport. The countdown starts 10 seconds in advance. Okura, Nagai, Nakamoto. You start preparing to cast spells. As the leader commanded, everyone in the crowd was ready to go. 60 of them stood together, and 7 priests stood together, leaving an empty space in the middle for the target. 3 of the young mages had already started chanting skills. They chanted super long control skills, and extracted a lot of equipment and skills that increased the control strength. Once they were blasted out, they would be able to blow away several layers of inviolability at once. At the same time, Others also found the right rhythm according to the countdown time and began to chant their own control skills. It must be said that such a team's execution is very terrible. Through the countdown commanded by the leader, the casting time was accurate. And the pre-chanting sing, you can instantly unleash some skills that would have taken a long time to prepare while the teleporter is teleporting. The 7 priests each held a submachine gun, ready to shoot at the shadow in front of them. The most important person in the crowd was a teleporter, a middle-aged woman with a mean look. Expressionless, raising her hand and sketching a teleportation array. Her son died in the disaster of the long-tailed snake demon, and she attributed the cause of the disaster to the shadow. It was the shadow who killed her son, but she never thought that the reason her son died was just because he coveted the 10 points of all attributes. 3-3, 2-2, 1-1. Finally, the leader of the Yamato God Guild counted down in English. When the last number came out, a burst of blue light enveloped the 60 of them and instantly teleported them to the area where Qin Feng was hundreds of meters away. Swish! Qian Feng was leisurely absorbing the life on the ground. Suddenly, a circular blue magic circle appeared under his feet. In the magic circle, white light flashed, and 60 people appeared on him in an instant. All of a sudden, all kinds of magic, sword lights, and skills were wielded. Under Qin Feng's feet, bursts of lightning and fire suddenly emerged, and lightning nets wrapped around him. At the same time, there was a dense sound of submachine gun shooting, all concentrated on Qin Feng alone. But after just 1 second, in this seemingly extremely fierce offensive, a lazy voice came out. Why are there so many mosquitoes in your dongdu? When Qin Feng's words came out, the 60 people who launched the sneak attack and tried to kill Qin Feng all showed incredible expressions. Their eyes widened. Unbelievable. They watched with their own eyes. The shadow, who was fiercely besieged by them, wearing a dark white mask, seemed to be laughing at their overestimation. Under the fierce attack, and all kinds of electric sparks and frost, the shadow was not affected at all, especially the control skills of lightning attributes. It was bounced away the moment it approached Qin Feng, and it had no effect on Qin Feng at all. And even the inviolable affix could not be broken. This is because Qin Feng learned the skill of Blessing of the Lightning Fairy. The basic effect of this skill is immunity to the control of lightning attributes. Of course, other skills such as fire and ice have control effects, but they are all offset by Qin Feng's inviolable affix. It has to be said that this group of people's control ability is really strong, directly maxed out, and in an instant, Qin Feng's inviolable affixes were all emptied. Moreover, under the situation of the 7 priests' submachine guns shooting at him, Qin Feng's shield was indeed consumed almost instantly. In terms of inviolability and injury shield, the opponent's combat effect has been achieved. But it's a pity this group of people still don't know enough about Qin Feng. Under the close-range shooting of submachine guns, there are still people who use close-range swords to slash Qin Feng. But it's a pity that Qin Feng's passive ability has a 98% dodge probability. If in the game, triggering dodge means reducing the damage to 0, there is no special form of expression. But in reality, the effect of this dodge is very intuitive. I saw that those swords and skills fell on Qin Feng, and they all automatically deflected without any signs, passing by Qin Feng's side, and could not touch him at all. When there is a shield to protect you from damage, dodge is not effective. And the shield to protect you from damage is calculated first. Dodge will only take effect after the shield is broken. This is the mechanism of the godforsaken game. Otherwise, the shield to protect you from damage plus dodge will be too invincible. And only after Qin Feng's shield to protect you from damage was broken, people realized for the first time how terrifying his dodge rate was. Several young men holding swords and axes in front of him chopped at Qin Feng's head as soon as the shield to protect you from damage was broken. Result: their swords and swords all passed by Qin Feng's head. Of course, if it is an attack with a superior affix, the influence of the superior affix cannot be dodged. Even if the physical attack is dodged, the superior affix energy attached to the attack can also affect the target. But at this stage, except for a few Daxia official team, no one can have any superior affixes. In fact, even those official teams of Daxia with superordinate affixes were raised by Qin Feng. What is Qin Feng afraid of in this situation? If such a high probability of dodge only shocked the opponent, then the next situation will directly make all the opponents despair. After Qin Feng's shield and inviolability layers were cleared, he was equivalent to having no protection. As long as the attack control was not dodged, Qin Feng's body could be attacked. But there were submachine gun bullets hitting Qin Feng. There were also swords and knives that chopped Qin Feng's legs and hands. There were also flaming arrows that hit Qin Feng's chest. Even if Qin Feng's dodge rate was very high, the opponent's attack frequency was too dense, so naturally there would be attacks that successfully hit his body. But what made people despair was that after these attacks hit Qin Feng, there was no feedback at all. No damage, no flame, no control. Qin Feng could even say lightly, "Why are there so many mosquitoes?" It was the deadliest mockery of the 60 members of the Yamato God Guild team, and it also made all of them feel depressed. Ariina impossible. Why? Why is it that attacking him is ineffective? We all hit him. At least several bullets hit his head, but the bullets lost power and fell directly to the ground. Masaka, could it be that the shadow is really invincible? Many people screamed on the spot. This is naturally the effect of Qin Feng's shadow arc, the effect of the third professional advancement. All damage and negative status received by Qin Feng will be delayed by 1 second. When he advanced to the 4th profession, this time was extended to 3 seconds. So, those attacks that hit Qin Feng, whether they were bullets or swords, or skills, the damage and power contained in them are all transferred to a special space. The bullet hit Qin Feng's head, and the physical impact brought by it was directly transferred, so the bullet lost power and fell to the ground. The sword chopped Qin Feng, the cutting force was transferred, and the sword could not move forward. If Qin Feng did nothing within 3 seconds, then these transferred forces will continue to act on Qin Feng after 3 seconds. But if Qin Feng offsets those forces through operations such as bloodsucking and treatment within 3 seconds, then these forces will completely disappear. Of course, now Qin Feng's physical attribute has reached 2,000 points. It is already 200 times that of ordinary people. Even if he really stood there and let these people attack, at most he would get a little skin scratched, which is not much different from being bitten by a mosquito. But even if it was a little skin scratch, Han Feng would not be happy. Just when Qin Feng was thinking whether to use the Great Yang Yi spell on Osiryu beside him and let him heal himself according to the old rules, a priest in the field saw that he could not kill Qin Feng, and his face changed immediately. He raised his hand and released a group invincibility skill. She first released an auxiliary skill so that the next skill could be released instantly. Then this group invincibility skill was released instantly. Waves of sacred white light enveloped the 60 people around. Now, keep attacking. If we can't kill him, we will all die. There is no point in running. The leader in the crowd, a middle-aged man with a national flag headband, held a bloody double axe and chopped down at Qin Feng's head and face. But unfortunately, he was dodged and deviated to the sides. But people did not give up. Just under the invincibility effect, he continued to attack Qin Feng. This invincibility effect is very strong. Qin Feng's eyes lit up. It's a pity that it's mine. Qin Feng raised his hand and threw several shadow blades at the middle-aged male leader in front of him. Puff, puff, puff. A blood hole appeared on the forehead of the middle-aged male leader, and he fell to the ground. Before he died, several of his buff states were transferred to Qin Feng. This is the mythical shadow blade. The buff transfer effect, in an instant. Han Feng was also shrouded in sacred white light, and even had a continuous healing effect, attribute amplification effect, speed amplification effect. Now, the people around were dumbfounded. Originally, they wanted to fight for this invincible time to kill Qin Feng, but in the end, he became invincible.